on this Wednesday morning. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now in the hands of our capable city clerk, Ms. Lisa Carroll.
This is the pre-meeting of the Mobile City Council, Wednesday, March the 5th. We have approval of minutes from February the 18th.
Any issues, anyone?
Appeals, we have requests for waiver of the noise ordinance on April the 18th from 7 a.m. until 12 p.m. on St. Francis Street. April, is that okay, Ms.? Okay, April 18th from 6 p.m. until 10 p.m. on Airport Boulevard. March the 29th from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. in Langham Park.
We want to change that 8 a.m. to maybe 9 a.m.
And April the 19th from 11 a.m. until 5 p.m. Public hearings today is the public hearing to fix the cost of demolition of structures at 1622 Duval Street, 2203 Height Street, and 2079 Victory Drive West. Today is the public hearing to consider vacation of a city right-of-way located on the west side of Knollwood Drive, just north of Medical Park Drive. Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Lisa Washington regarding the need for more sidewalks, better lighting on streets and curbs. Rashid Shuford, the need for more sidewalks. Kate Carver regarding the Crichton Fire Station being renamed. Charlie McCants providing information about Gulf Coast Gladiators and the South Region Black Division Championship. John Young requesting to ban suggestive dancing in Mardi Gras parades. Andrea Davis proposing the vessel SS United States be placed adjacent to Gulf Quest and used as a hotel and museum. Dr. Ramon McGuire requests funding for a bike park. Dale Boyd requests funding for a bike park. Reggie Hill, continued petition from last week, emphasis on City of Mobile Legal Department and zoning, review of the UDC and various boards. Courtney Jackson, need for more sidewalks in the city.
Question, do we know where all these sidewalk requests?
Yeah, where, I was wondering.
I know in my last community meeting in Midtown, in the new area that I have, there was a lot of requests for sidewalks on Westwood, Mohawk, all those streets out there, and I don't recognize these names off the top of my head, so I don't know if it's coming from District 2 or not.
Do they have addresses on any of these things when they sign up for this? Because I was wondering the same thing, like where in particular.
Sidewalks. This one is Shevlin Lane,
Where is that?
Shevlin Lane, Shevlin Lane,
Shevlin Lane.
I don't recognize it.
SH.
Shevlin. And then Cottage Hill Road.
Yeah, Cottage Hill.
Yeah.
By Cottage Hill Presbyterian Church.
Okay, and the underneath, Rashid Shuford, is that the same place, same area?
Oh, they're all coming from the same area?
Cottage Hill, the other one is Cottage Hill Road.
His is too?
Courtney Jackson is Cottage Hill Road. And Shevlin Lane,
So it's the same.
yeah.
When they said bike park, did they say what kind of bike park? And we talking bicycles? Are we talking motorbikes?
Oh, no, since we have a skate park, nationally, they have these bike parks that are similar to the skate parks where they run
Yeah,
the BMX bikes.
just wondering.
They've been working with Shonda
Well, they've been working with
for the
Shonda,
past 3 years to bring a bike park.
so it must be like a regular
Yeah.
bike park. Okay.
And I guess this Cottage Hill Road, that's gonna be District 5.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So those are Joel's.
Yeah, I believe so. I'm gonna ask our council attorney, again, if you can just really put up the, ordinance about the, sidewalks, like, or we can just really have that really, prepared. Yeah.
Because we actually have, Joel actually helped draft this, how you go about getting a sidewalk in the community, what the community has to do, what the city's responsibility is, and that sort of a thing. I don't know if they're talking within neighborhoods on this, or if it's just along Cottage Hill Road, or, you know.
Okay.
Because that will make a difference.
All right, thank you. Madam Clerk.
Okay. Ordinance is held over 64001. Consider rezoning property located at 5301 Moffett Road from B2 to B3.
All right, I know y'all are getting tired of laying this one over, but we had, between snow and Mardi Gras, get in the middle of all of this, and so, oh, sorry. We still have not been able to get up with the residents to discuss what the city believes will be a good course for them with this rezoning and the proposed development. So I'm going to, let's lay it over for 2 weeks, and if we are able to get the meeting scheduled and get things done, we can just bring it up next week. But, you know, the way it's been going, I would prefer to just lay it over 2 weeks so that we don't have to have it come up every week and then, you know, go through this process. But we do have something to share with the residents that the developer and the city thinks can work, but I want to make sure the residents are okay with it and can support it. And so we're just trying to put together a meeting with them first.
Okay. 2 weeks.
Yeah, let's just do 2 weeks.
Resolutions held over 01411. Authorized agreement with Alabama State Port Authority, the state of Alabama, and One Water LLC for the sale of certain real property.
Mr. President,
Mr.
I'm sorry, I wasn't here last week. Jim, can you just give us an overview of what this project is and what the status is, when the expectation would be that they get started, you know?
Actually, this has to do with the deed of the property itself to the city of Mobile. It did not include in the original deed certain submerged lands. And so this is just really cleaning it up, and it's all coming back to the city of Mobile with the new meets and bounds.
This is the purchase and sale or transfer with One Water, or that will come back as well?
No, this is between the state and the Port Authority, city of Mobile, but the city will take possession of the property.
Oh, I got you.
But it did not include certain submerged lands that
I
are,
remember that
yeah.
discussion.
And so that's all they did was clean it up so that we have clear title to it,
And then our objective would be hopefully
to sell the property.
to sell the property for the new development of the hotel and all that. sort of stuff.
That's right. That's correct.
And when should we expect that to happen? Anytime soon, or the timeline on that?
You know, I don't have a timeline. I know I'll follow up on it. We're working with engineering also on maybe reconfiguring Water Street. So that may be the next thing you see us bring forward.
Thank you.
Sure.
It's not 6430.
08413, approved purchase order to Kruger International for mechanical assist shelving. 08414, approved purchase order to Magnet Forensics for annual renewal of forensic software. 08415, approved purchase order to SHI International for digital flash storage. 09417, appropriate funds in the Municipal Government Capital Improvement Fund to various capital projects. 09418, allocate funds in a municipal stormwater fees capital project to various stormwater management projects. 09419, transfer funds from capital project Baumhauer Randall Park to the capital project Boys and Girls Club for design of site and facility improvements at the Parkway Community Center project. 13420, authorized change order with Chris Brewer Contracting for citywide small asphalt repairs. This is an increase.
Mr.
314.
President,
Mr. Moore.
Based on what I can tell, this program, I think Councilwoman Gregory really advocated hard for this over the years, has been a great success. Is that true?
It is.
Okay. And that's why we're expanding it additionally by putting some more money in it.
That's right. It's been a huge success.
And this is something that we should probably consider doing just annually budgeting for. Would you agree?
We have started. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, we do fund this annually, but I agree with Ben that we could expand it even more so because of the need for this. So if we want to look at for the 2026 budget, putting more money in, I would be willing to consider that for sure.
Sure.
And before we go forward, again, Mr. President, could we go back to 09417? That's the capital improvement fund, various capital projects. I see John is here. I know Nick is out of town. We had asked John for a list of what those various projects are. I don't know if you have those or can just get them to us.
I do have a list of the stormwater fees that we were asking about.
Well, there was a stormwater fees, that's one, yeah, but the other one is the capital improvements
I don't.
fund, various capital projects.
Gene, I would have to look back on the previous, the council to see what those projects.
Yeah, if you don't mind, maybe both of them, just giving us a rundown of what those projects will be, where they, you know,
Okay.
which districts. I
Yeah,
think
yeah, I'll share with everyone.
That'd be great, thank you.
31421, authorize the mayor to accept a subaward agreement between City of Mobile and the State of Alabama Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. 37422, 423, and 424, considering the applications for a certificate of public convenience and necessity to operate a shuttle service and to operate a sedan service. Consent resolutions being introduced, 09426, transfer funds from District 7 discretionary account to the City of Mobile Treasury Department to assist with Mobile Terrace Parade, $1,465. 427, 428, and 429 are fixing the cost of demolition of structures. 430, rename Crichton Fire Station to Alexander G. Trenier Fire Station.
That's not what I've got. Our agendas are different.
What do you have?
Yeah, I don't,
Determining appropriation to Gulf Coast Caribbean Carnival Association.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, we don't have it on.
Oh, so they just
So
moved,
somebody didn't.
so it
post
just
the new
moved it down
agendas.
one, that's all.
That's fine. As
Yeah.
long as we got it, we're good.
Okay,
And are we all sponsors on that?
yes.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, just make everybody.
everybody, okay. 6431, determine an appropriation to Gulf Coast Caribbean Carnival Association. 6432, 433, 434, 435, and 436 are determined appropriations to the Village of Spring Hill, Mobile County Public School System, JAG Girls in the Village of Spring Hill, serve a public purpose and approving payment. CIP resolutions being introduced, 09437, transfer funds from CIP Fund 2024 citywide sidewalk repair and maintenance to grant fund to be used as grant match for Village of Spring Hill, $23,500.
Would y'all be willing to just go ahead and waive the rules on this one today?
No objection.
Okay. Thank you.
Resolutions being introduced, 01438, authorized agreement with Alabama Department of Transportation for I-10 Mobile River Bridge and Bayway Project.
Mr. President, can y'all explain to me what this one is? This is 01438, the agreement with Alabama Department of Transportation for I-10 Mobile River Bridge and Bayway Project.
437.
Yeah, it's 437.
No, 438.
Well, on ours.
01438.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's 437, but we're just one off. We're good.
All right.
I'll take it anyway.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jim.
So this is another in the many, many steps of getting the I-10 bridge moving forward. And what you'll see in that agreement is, in large part, the state operates within the confines of the city of Mobile. We coordinated a number of ways. One thing you'll see is the timing of permitting, the 10-day turnaround. That's one. And then two, you'll also see that there's an idea, not in stone, but for an observation tower that goes there as part of what's included on the city side. I mean, the city at some point would have someone man that. So a number of different details in coordination with going forward with the I-10 bridge.
It still doesn't say what it is.
So it's a joint agreement between the state and the city moving forward with the I-10 bridge.
To do what?
Say again?
To do what? It's got to be something specific that they want their agreement on.
Sure. Well, it's a number of specific things. So one, the most involved would be the permitting turnaround time. Two would be our participation in when we talk about that observation tower, if that happens. The other is the contemplated future agreement, which you're not obligated to enter into.
The permitting agreement, I'm sorry, I'm not fully prepared to.
That's okay. That's fine.
But the permit requirement, 10-day permit requirement, that'd be, the city is committing itself to say, we're going to turn around the permit in 10 days for these various permits in 10 days for AlDOT.
That's
Or
right.
whoever the contractor is.
Well, it's the contractors for AlDOT.
I think we ought to make that agreement with our citizens, just generally. I think it's a great idea. I think we ought to probably commit ourselves to that just broadly and generally. That 10 days, there's a bill that's introduced within the state legislature currently that has that sort of structure to it. I think it's a great idea. But I look forward to understanding what our costs are going to be, what we're committing ourselves to, I guess, forever, right? If we're going to man an observation tower and that sort of thing. Does this
Yeah.
obligate us in that way?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else?
01439, authorized intergovernmental agreement with Mobile County Commission for the Mobile Arena project. 01,
Have they agreed on their side yet? Have they come to a number, an agreement?
No, they met last Monday in executive session, so we really don't know where they are on this, but we're proceeding to go to the bond market today.
This is authorizing an agreement with them that they haven't agreed to yet.
This is the original ask was 15 million. There was talk about 7.5 to 10, individually with individual commissioners. They met last Monday. And so we've made an offer to do 10 million over 2 years. We've not heard back from the county. I did exchange a little bit with Jay Ross over the weekend, and we're waiting to see what the county commission does today. But I think we need to, do they have the interagency agreement? Intergovernmental? Okay.
It's not on their agenda.
It's not on their agenda today that I know of, because this just started transpiring because we're heading to the bond market today. But if you remember, part of the cash stack on the budget for the arena included a $10 million contribution from the county.
So we're just getting the intergovernmental agreement started so that when we hear from them on the amount, then this can be finalized, because this is a first read today. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. It's a first read, and then we'll work with the county to see what the
To
county's
insert the
contribution.
amount of money, whatever it is.
I'm sorry.
To insert whatever their contribution is in this, or is this just a plain, this says intergovernmental agreement with the county for the arena project. So I think what William was asking was, well, how much are they contributing? Is
We
that
don't
not
know.
part of the agreement?
They haven't settled on
Right,
a
yeah.
number. The last we heard was between 7.5
Yeah.
and 10. And so our ask is actually originally 15. We came down to 10 over 2 years. If y'all remember, part of our debt service is really strained the first couple of years. Talking to them, they may not do it in 2 years. They may do 5 and 10, whatever. But we're just waiting for a response from the county.
Look, this conversation is kind of my fault because I took it under the precipice that the first read was last week because we had so much conversation on it. If this is the first read, then we have time.
Yeah, and this is what I'm saying. This is the first read. So whenever they agree to an amount, then it can be,
Yeah.
this is just the paperwork to do the agreement.
So it's potentially this could change.
Yes, sir. We haven't heard back from the county commission.
It all can change.
We have heard from the county finance department, but we've not heard from the commission.
It's all great. I was just concerned how we're gonna vote on something we don't know what the numbers are.
The numbers are on the agreement right now, 5 million over for a year and then 5 million.
But we don't know what.
But they may not go with that. Yeah.
Well, let's hope that they're going to be on board with this. I mean, I don't know the full history of the county and the city, but I want to say this has got to be one of the biggest projects in the history of Mobile County, right?
I would say so, yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, it just, and they've always been good partners to us and we've been good partners to them. We've got a very good working relationship with them. I hope that we can come to some agreement or arrangement where we jointly participate in this. I mean, it's tremendous endeavor we're taking on here. So I hope the discussion sort of lead towards more rather than less.
Well, and again, you are correct. We've always participated in county projects. County has always participated in ours. We participated, I think, 5 million toward the soccer complex. Recently, we split the cost of electronic monitoring with the county. So we're just waiting again, just to hear back from the county.
Mr. President,
Mr. Penn.
just have a question on Chief. When we have these type of big, I mean, I know this is something historic with these type of projects in the past, but when we had the Civic Center, like, I'm not sure, did they participate do we have in the past when we did this type of project, when we first built the Civic Center in the past, and what that was?
1963. I don't think anybody here has got a recollection of whether they participated.
We didn't even have this form of government.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
didn't start till 85.
Yeah, I was just wondering. Yeah, that's true. 1985 when we had this form of government. But did the county have any? Did we support them in allowing them to use anytime they needed any participation of utilizing the Civic Center? And was there any situations where they had to use the Civic Center?
I can't think of anything right offhand that they had to use the Civic Center for, but it's always been, if we could accommodate any request, we certainly accommodated them.
Corey, you asked, one of the biggest collaborative projects that the city's ever undertaken is actually with the county, is the building that we're sitting in. And that one was built a long time ago. So if you ask if we ever had any type of partnerships, the county actually owns this building. We're just,
Rent.
we just pay rent.
How much was this?
Oh, I can't remember. A person to ask would be, would be, I'm gonna leave that one alone right now, but he was actually a project manager and the lead for it.
All right, Madam Clerk.
01440, authorized agreement with Wayland's Wildlife Services for nuisance beaver control, $13,100 per year. 01441, authorized amendment and agreement GRW Engineers for Mobile Area Stormwater Mapping and Resilience
Mr. President,
Planning Project.
Josh was trying to get.
Can I go back to the 440? The nuisance control, obviously I know there's numerous areas that are going to be checked, multiple traps, different places. But this, is this also kind of an on call to our knowledge of if a problem arises? They're also going to be tasked with going out to maybe, because I know Milk House Creek right there by Cottage Hill, it's not on the list, but I do know that there is a problem at times there, I guess.
So the contract does contemplate adjustments that might need to be made to maintain the integrity of the stormwater system.
Perfect. Okay.
08442, approved purchase order to Canon USA for digital scanning for municipal archives, $116,312. 08443, approved purchase order to Tactical Electronics and Military Supply for under-door cameras and video scope, $74,950. 09444, allocate funds to recipients designated in the Helios allocation report, $2,201,643.
Mr. President,
Ms. Carroll.
I believe last week or the week before, we may have an indirect request from municipal court for some portion of the funds that were granted to us for this item. I don't know if it's too late to go back and review that or to look at it. and maybe some type of proration or reallocation if it is warranted based on evaluation. But we may need to lay this over until we can.
First read, quick.
Okay.
How much were they requesting?
Yeah.
We don't, I glanced at the letter this morning. I didn't look at all the numbers because I had to run in here.
I guess to kind of touch on that, is this the full settlement amount that we're dealing out, or, because I do know there was another request that was brought up as well. Is there another portion of money, I guess, that we could probably take, maybe the legal side, and look at it?
Well, you do have two tranches. This is the first one that we dealt with originally. There's a second one that the DA's office made a presentation on using it. The municipal court request was that the judges are spending an unusual amount of time counseling with defendants. And I've got Rayford here. The allocations that he's doing should relieve that burden on them. And Rayford, correct me, but municipal court ought to be able to make referrals to these nonprofits for these different counseling. So you are funding it. I just don't think they're aware of what those nonprofits are.
Look, have you talked to the judges from municipal court to know what all those details are?
And so Chief is correct. So I did talk, because I think it was Judge Stokes that in particular that brought it up. And so he wrote a letter. He actually called me the next day. We talked. We're supposed to circle back around with Devin McGowan, who is the court administrator. But the Chief is correct. What we really need in municipal court is to be able to direct people outside of the courts and not deal with it and have these providers. So, the short answer is this is completely up to the council. I mean, if you all want to take more time, look at it. I think that's more than appropriate because it's in your court to make these decisions. What Helios has done is go through a vetting process and make a recommendation to you, but you are not, other than what happens with the opioid use guidelines, as long as it falls within that category, you are ready, willing, and able to make the decision based on this information and the guidelines on your own. But it will provide some level of support for the courts, and we'd like to sit down and discuss that with you more if you'd like.
It was my understanding that the judges were saying that they were having to deal with these issues in the courtroom. And if these agencies are going to provide assistance and they're going to assign it to these agencies, then they would need to be in the courtroom when these things are happening. So that it kind of seems kind of far-fetched that they're going to try to assign these individuals to an agency that's not in the courtroom at the time. I think that we need to kind of take another look at how we're going to do this.
Well, maybe part of it was having a liaison in the courts who is familiar with all of the agencies so that the judge doesn't have to sit on the bench and say, okay, well, here are these agencies that I can refer you to, because that's really not what they need to be doing. But if there is a liaison that works with the courts and with these agencies, then that one person, or even two people if needed, would be the one to work with the people who come to court who need that kind of assistance. It will help them figure out which agencies will work and how to get them there and go through all the coordination that's going to be needed, so that the judges don't actually have to do that.
Yeah, but that requires an allocation from us or someone
They
for
would
that
have to be
liaison
within the
to be
court,
in the
probably.
courtroom. So
Or something maybe from,
it's the
one of the
first.
agencies too.
So
One-
first read, I think we need to
Yeah.
get a little bit of guidance
Right.
from them and everybody else
Right.
before we make a
Okay.
decision.
Sure. And I'll let Rayford fill you all in on just how it all comes together full circle.
Thanks. First of all, I have not seen the letter for the request, so I'm not exactly sure what it is.
I can explain it to you briefly. I think
Okay.
It's regarding recidivism of
Mhm.
offenders reappearing week after week or month after month for, knick-knack charges, whatever they are, that they're trying to break the cycle. And I think they wanted to have someone who could work within the court system to help break that cycle.
Okay,
And sort of, I guess, do maybe like Mr. Young does, as the homeless prevention coordinator, and try to find services or direct them to services. I
okay.
think that
and
was the idea of the letter.
Right.
Am I
And-
right about that?
Close.
It may be that, and Caroline's here with, she may know now about how this would fit in other recommendations that we've made. Because as you know, those recommendations deal with
Prevention, treatment,
all of these. And there's 60 organizations in the city that are affected by the funding that we've recommended that you make. What you're talking about is certainly one of the priorities of what we're trying to do. CCP, they have one of the best recidivism rates in the country. We're moving that they expand, what they do. An easy thing might be for us to take a look at this letter, see exactly what they are asking for, see where it does or does not already fit in the recommendations that we've made. Because as a part of making these recommendations that affect like the circuit court and the district court and CC, we've met with these people. So if you want us to take a look at it and tell you where it fits, or it could come out of a second tranche of money. I mean, these first recommendations deal strictly with the process that y'all set up, I guess, last October. There's another tranche of money that the other requests that we discussed came out of last week. But that does not, it's my understanding, that does not take the entire tranche.
I don't know that it does. It doesn't.
Yeah.
But it's still completely up.
Yeah.
I think that, as Chief Barber said, to talk with the court administrator, understand,
Mhm.
If it makes sense to have a liaison or somebody in place to help, help these folks navigate the services that are out there for them currently and see what the burden
Yeah.
truly is on the court.
Well,
I think that's probably
I
our
think
next
that's
step.
exactly it, a navigator to work with the people coming to court who need the services, but don't know which services, so that the judges aren't the ones who are having to make those decisions or coordinate those kinds of things. But if we're talking the second tranche, how long would it be before that second tranche comes in and we could help to coordinate something like that in municipal court?
If it's my understanding, the DA's office award was based on the second tranche
It
and
is.
not the first one. So that's why I wanted a
So
clear
it's-
understanding. Yeah. The other thing, no matter who you ask to do it, based on everything that I read in their services, they're going to have to create an additional revenue pool to administer the service that you're asking them to. So we're going to have to, or you may actually have to reallocate some of those funds to accommodate what we may try to accomplish with the liaison.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a good idea. I just think that maybe us take a look at the specific request, see where it fits, and then come back and make a recommendation to you for your decision.
Yes, how much is the second amount that would,
We don't know the full amount yet. We know that what the DA's request is, but we don't know what the full amount will be for the second tranche yet.
and do we have a timeline when that amount might?
No, we don't.
Okay. And then the second piece is we also need to be mindful, look at it, because we need to make sure that whatever decision we make, that it's also sustainable. So going forward, how is it going to be funded going forward? Because you can say, okay, this is a good thing, but then you just cold turkey stop, then that could create more problems and issues later as well. So want to make sure how is it going to be sustainable.
Mr. Ben, I couldn't agree with you more. Note that this first tranche and the second tranche, as it looks now, would be one-time payments, period. And because it's not a reoccurring funding effort. So, and that's something we wanted to make really clear going forward as well. And that's something we're communicating, no matter how it works out. This is only this one tranche, second tranche, and we won't have this as a reoccurring line item. So,
Mr. President. And then also too, just to kind of reiterate, all the programs that were recommended, the initial investment comes from this, but then also too, these are sustainable programs that have kind of been vetted. They've identified potential funding sources or grants to continue their work. So.
That's the plan. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Anyone else? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
21,445, authorized contract with Thompson Engineering for citywide bridge inspections, $339,320. 47,446, consider vacation of city right-of-way located on the west side of Norwood Drive, just north of Medical Park Drive. Call for public hearings, 41,447, call for public hearing to consider rezoning property located at 3300 Norwood Drive from R1 and B1 to R3, scheduled April the 8th. Announcements.
Council.
Mr. President.
Mr. Penn.
I just would like to thank everyone that made sure that we had a safe Mardi Gras, to the MPD, to the fire department, public works, to everyone that just really made sure. I think this the most people we had from last year, from the numbers. And I mean, it was just pretty amazing to see how fast they cleaned up, and just I heard a lot of great things taking place throughout the city. So hats off to everyone that made that happen. We still have another parade, the Trenton Gardens Parade. So we want to make sure we do the same thing with the Trenton Gardens community in District 1. But hats off to everyone that made that happen. Thank you, Mr. President.
Vice President.
We actually have two parades because we have the Mobile Terrace Motorcade, which will follow the Trinity Gardens Parade. And I also want to thank all of our folks for what they do to keep everyone safe. And then, of course, the Public Works group, they're like a Mardi Gras parade on their own, you know, watching them do the cleanup and what all it takes. I mean, they are really on top of things, and everybody does a really great job. So thank you to everyone involved. And I know today a lot of people need a lot of rest. So, but just thank you, and please pass along our thanks.
I guess I'll chime in there, but even more so on our part, we had in my home for the last 5 days, we've had people from all over the country, and they were extremely impressed on how we handled the streets and how nice and cleaned up they were the actual morning after a parade. Hadn't seen anything like it before in their lives, especially the ones from New York. They're like, y'all had a parade and it's this clean after? They were extremely impressed. Ones from Fort Lauderdale were like, I can't believe it, you know, but the ones from out of the country were like, oh my God, they hadn't seen an operation like that before ever in their lives. You know, I've just got to go back and say thank you to the guy that actually bought this system here. And was Mr. Bell, who actually bought this system to the city of Mobile from New Orleans. And what year was that, Gina? 05, 06, 94, when John Bell started this system in Mobile and bought it to Mobile. And it's been a big success. So, John, if you're out there listening anywhere, kudos to you and your thought pattern in starting this. The other thing is that congrats and thanks to all the police officers, especially the one that was at the corner of my house at Charleston and Broad, who told my wife she couldn't even come into our own driveway on Saturday, and kind of held him up and didn't ask for ID, but he finally figured it out and let her come in, which was, you know, really nice for him. And I really appreciate him keeping everybody safe. And also to the guys on Church Street, guys, I really appreciate y'all helping us get down the street yesterday. Thank y'all very much.
Mr. President.
Mr. Reynolds.
Item 47446 is the consideration of a vacation of a right-of-way. I know it's on first read today, but I'd like to hold that item over to April 15th so it coincides with the rezoning that is being called for a public hearing today. We don't have to necessarily do it today. I just want to make sure that the clerk made note of that when it does come up for second read, we can just April 15th. I believe that's when 41447 will be on its second read. That'll be its first read.
Mr. President.
Yeah, Mr. Lewis.
I do want to add my comments about Mardi Gras. I had the opportunity, a really unique opportunity, to spend some time with the USS McFall, our Mardi Gras ship, and hear some of their stories. And I just want to say thank you to the citizens of Mobile. All 300 of those folks had an extremely great time, and there was nothing but high things to say about how our people in the city treat them. Whether it was, I think one story was a bunch of sailors obviously went to parade, loaded down bags of beads and moon pies. And instead of hiking it back to the ship, local businesses were asking them, hey, can we hold these for you until you get done having dinner, whatever you're doing for the night? So I do want to say thank you for the hospitality you showed to the ship. And it's just really special to know that Mobile's unlike anywhere else. So I just wanted to share that story.
Okay. Anything from the administration?
Mr. President.
Oh, go ahead.
And then I also want to thank our team. Lisa and her staff did an amazing job making sure that we was well taken care of. Lisa jumping out the truck, handing out boxes of moon pies and and the team got here so early. So thank y'all so much. Y'all did an amazing job. Thank y'all.
Yeah, just to comment on Mardi Gras, just so that, just for y'all's own information, we had nearly 1.4 million visitors downtown throughout the carnival season. Only 42 arrests, most of which were really minor arrests. So it was a pretty good Mardi Gras from our perspective.
All right.
Do you want to take that, renaming our board of that? Yeah. Yeah, Tom. Yeah, that,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's a ton of them.
So after adoption of the agenda.
That'll be fine. All right, anything else? We'll see each other 10:30.